So, yes, my name is Leo. This is the filmmaking club. What did I say about it? We make films. We give presentations on what we learn. And we made a film this weekend. Sam was there. Ozan should have been there, and Juan got mad at me for not inviting Ozan, so Ozan should have been there also. Yeah, Juan, my partner, was on the camera and the sound, and Konya is another actress. You've met Konya before, yeah? And she was here too, and she'll be here at 7. She's giving a class at the moment. She's going to come along. So I made a presentation all about it, just to explain how we did it and what my inspirations were, and then I'll show you some clips from previous tests that we did, and I'll show you a little bit of the film, but Juan forbid me from showing the whole thing, so we can watch like 5 minutes of it and you get the point. Yes, this is a very rough poster that I made. It's called Friday Night Pizza. And this was in the same font as that, but I see that it's not saved in here, so it's just done a different font. And the patented Robertson short film method is sarcastic because nothing I'm about to show you is new. It's all stuff I've learned from other places, other sources, which I find funny because people are always like, you're not doing it the way it's supposed to be done. And I'm like, really? Because all I'm doing is the way it's been done, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Can you turn the TV a little bit towards us?
Sure.
See? Yeah.
Like that? Yeah. Yes. So Sam and I got pizza at Mano in summer. He said this would be a cool location for a short film.
No, I'm just here for this one.
Yeah. There's whole bullet points on this as well. Yeah. So like, I said, yeah, maybe a couple argue you don't find out how it ends because they get pizza and leave, I think, or something. Last summer when Sam was here, it's sad that he can't be with us all the time, but he's at uni in the Netherlands, working hard, so proud heart.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, I'm glad to see you. I had a bunch of other things to write, including our longer film that we're making over the next few months. So I had I think 2 days to write it, and but somehow because we'd had the idea since the summer and I'd been taking a few notes here and there, it's in the back of your head ready to go just because you had the idea for a long time. So I knew it was going to be all right. Then in my writing research, I tried to look at like, okay, what is this similar to? What can I does anyone mind if I do this? Okay. Let me know if it bothers you, yeah. Just what I do in the writing phase is I go, what is this closest to? Or what does this make me think of? And then I will reread what those things are. I don't have any problem doing that. I know some people are worried that they'll get too inspired or steal from it accidentally or something. But in my mind, I go, it helps me find the bits that I like about those pieces and then expand upon it in my own way. So there's a play called Lungs by Duncan Macmillan. And who's the Matt something, the Doctor Who? Matt Smith. Yeah. So he's in that with Claire Foy. You know Claire Foy? She played one of the queens in The Crown, I think in the first season. Yes. Matt Smith and Claire Foy, they do this play. I think they're on stage for like 90 minutes. It's just dialogue between them. There's nothing on the stage. And they pretend to be in an IKEA. They pretend to be at a party, just through acting. So I thought, cool, like a thing can be sustained by dialogue for 90 minutes on the stage. I can do a conversation between two people that will be interesting for a shorter period of time. There's a film called Frances Ha. Don't know if anyone's seen that one. Really good one, won some awards or something. Filmed on a DSLR in black and white. Greta Gerwig, she was the director of Little Women. Noah Baumbach was also the director of Marriage Story. So they co-wrote and I believe co-directed this film about like a millennial in New York who's like extremely indecisive and weird. And so I thought, I really liked the way the dialogue worked in that film of how you never know what direction it's going to go in because the characters are so indecisive and they don't know what they want or need. So I looked at that one again, and there's a film called Private Life, which is on Netflix by Tamara Jenkins, about middle-aged couple trying IVF and surrogacy. It's just a really real kind of scenarios, and you don't often see in film, and you don't often... There's just something very human about it that I liked, that I thought was interesting, the kind of real conversations you have with somebody that you love that are really, well, a little bit tedious, a little bit dark, you know, but you have to do it for the sake of getting the things that you want in life. In their case, they want to have kids in middle age, and it's tough for them, and they have to comfort each other and be realistic about how it's going to work out. So I really like that as well. Short film, I was thinking like a one-act play or just like a scene or something would constitute a short film. I reread these works and then added my own thoughts. I've been really interested in the notion of having kids and the philosophy and the morality behind it, but then I realized that my actors were kind of too young probably to do that, so I ended up stripping out most of the stuff about having kids, and that takes up like a minute or so of the conversation. Focus instead on more age-appropriate conflicts, moving in, drugs and alcohol, spending enough time together, uncertain future. The writing. Sam and his brother Rob came over on Christmas to play video games, and we were talking a bit about relationships, and then that really inspired me as well, and a lot, I think, of our ideas that we were talking about went into that. Practice. So I had the idea of doing this in one take. I'm not really sure why. But there's a few things that have been filmed in the way that I thought of it. There's a show called Horace and Pete, which you can find online. Episode 3, I believe, is like a conversation between two people at a table for 40 minutes. The first half of it is just like a monologue given by one woman, and the camera's on her the whole time. Because if it's interesting enough, you don't need to do anything with the camera. Anyone seen The Master, the Paul Thomas Anderson film? About based on Scientology, but they don't use the word because they don't want to get sued. I think it won some Oscars, but there's Scientology has these like intense psychological interrogations, right? And one character is getting interrogated, and normally the camera would cut between them, show one face and the other, but it just stays on him the whole time, paused, because he's trapped and it's relentless, and it's conceptually just the camera just stays on him the whole time. So I was thinking of something like that. My reasoning for that is because I called it Friday Night Pizza, but that to me sounds like a fun, like a guaranteed fun activity, like a cool thing that you get to do when you've relaxed at the end of the week. When it turns out to be the exact opposite for these characters. They're trapped here waiting for a pizza, and they have this horrible tension between them and they can't escape it. So I thought my camera editing choices should reflect that. Trapped and closed, forced to deal with one another. Yes, I also didn't want what's called non-diegetic music. Non-diegetic music would mean music that you add on top in the editing. Diegetic music would mean it was playing on a radio in the cafe. So it's in the scene already. I think there's also diegetic lighting and non-diegetic lighting. Like these lights are diegetic because they exist. But if there was a camera on me and we decided, like, okay, this light isn't bright enough on him, we're going to put a fake light in front of him. That would still kind of remain a diegetic light, I think, if it was meant to... Motivated light, yeah, maybe motivated and unmotivated light. Yeah, if there was light just over here because we liked the way it looked, that's unmotivated or non-diegetic, I think. It's just... Anyway, as soon as you add music, you know it's a film, right? Because you go, somebody did that in editing because they want to arouse my emotions. I didn't want to do that this time. I wanted it just to be kind of naturalistic. Just so happens that these things are cheap and easy to do, actually. I was lucky. I'm going to show you some clips from films. So before I show you this, I find it really funny that people always talk about cinematic and making something cinematic, and I think they mean epic or beautiful or something like that, when Haneke is an extremely well-respected director, still living. He made, does anyone know any other Haneke films? Amour won lots of awards. The Piano Teacher. Funny Games. No? All right. Forget it. You have to be in a particular mood for his films. You'll see why. This is what he considers cinematic, and you'll see why I was inspired by this style anyway. Can you imagine a James Bond film starting like that? James Bond gets his car washed. It's like, can I see his face? No. You can see the wheels if you want. You can see his license plate. It's like it's power washed. This film is about an Austrian family who live an unbearably boring life. I love it. I think it's brilliant. And I've joined this podcast called the Criterion Collective, and you're allowed to pick Criterion films to discuss, and I think I'm going to pick this one. It's incredibly dark, but I think it's quite brilliant. And you notice that the shots are all really close. Like you see a shot of a license plate, you see a wheel. But you can trust that the audience understands that that's a car, right? I mean, lots of people are like, establishing shot, library. You're like, if I see a guy reading some books and it's very quiet, I'll pick it up, you know? So it's a very trusting style of filming, and it's, I think it's inspired by Bresson, who's a French filmmaker. His cinematography tends to be very tight and controlled in that way as well. So that was inspiring. The thrills don't end, as I show you the next inspiration. This film, another Criterion film. God, imagine if I picked these back to back. They would hate me. This film is called Jeanne Dielman, I think, pronounced it in French. It's a Belgian film about a housewife doing housework. It's 3 hours long. Here is that all I want to show? Yes. Okay, let's just show you those two. I thought I'd show those because those are like not very well known films. Practice. So we did some practice versions, didn't we? So we started with we did one just there. We set up chairs here. Then we did one up in the cafe, and then we did it for real. We're practicing for like a week.
Yeah, we did like 4 days of script learning, I think. It was pretty intense. Yeah.
Very dedicated actors, you know. So I'll show you some clips from our test versions, and I'll tell you what we learned from them. This was the first version we did.
There isn't much space for anti-quantification about environmental harm right now.
Is it weird watching yourself?
Yeah, no, obviously every time.
I'm never secretly saying some other thing. You know, you've been unhappy since I moved in.
This is how we're recording the audio. They've just got it taped under their t-shirts.
My every move being, my every mannerism being known by another person. Are you a trust?
And this is with my black magic camera. It's not this
And
one.
I don't know if I like everything I've learned about you either.
That was always going to be true.
Video games for 6 hours a night? That's where all your...
Okay, so that's just a clip of the first one. And then if I show you, so what I liked about that, the sound was good actually. Hey, no worries. I forgot your Kurosawa. I realized on the way here, I'll get it next time. So yes, I liked the sound. What you could hear actually with both lavaliers at once, so they're echoing between them because they both pick up the dialogue of both characters. And what I should have done, what I did and what I'm doing in the final version is lowering the volume on one while the other is talking. But because this was just a test, I just threw it in DaVinci, synced it all, let it sync itself, and then played it.
But when you're that close, you could use the H1 recorder and just have
this one.
one microphone
Yeah, you could just hide it on the table, I guess.
on the table, or if you have a boom.
Mm-hmm.
Which you're going to get.
Yeah, we're going to get a boom. Yeah. Hiya. Sorry for the confusion, it's the library's fault. Here, come sit here.
Am I on stage?
No. It's okay. Come sit here. I'll move my stuff. Okay, so that was the first attempt, and then the next one we did was it the next day? Yeah? So then we went... Okay. Yes, okay. So then we went up to the cafe upstairs.
Medium wine and large.
And this was like semi-off book as well, so you were... They'd learned a lot of their lines at this point.
It's never learned. There's not much space for anti-quantification about environmental harm. Were you trying to tell me you don't want to have kids?
I'm never secretly saying some other thing. don't have the essence of everything.
I'm just not used to my every mannerism being known by another person. I don't know if I can live like this.
You adjust.
So what I like about this is better blocking. Konya's put on colour, which separates, she was wearing black before and her hair was blending into it. Nicer location, better lighting. This was going to be our backup in case Mano said no, because I was too afraid to call him for some reason, so Sam had to do it. I really appreciate it. I don't know if you can see, I don't know if it's doing it here. If just play.
And I don't know if I like everything I've learned about
Give
you.
us a bit later.
What was it? The Konya's, the pattern on the thing.
When you rubber statements.
I think it's because I was playing it on my phone actually. What happens is this line pattern, when it's really compressed, so showing it on my phone, it gets, what's it called, a moire pattern or something? Is that?
Yeah.
Moire, yeah. So you can see the lines waving up and down. Yeah, it was so distracting. So that's why they always say like wear block colors and like plain materials. You'll start seeing this everywhere now, you know. I always think, wow, they can just point a camera at anything and make it look good, but there's rules like this you didn't even notice. You're like, nobody's wearing patterns ever, you know? It's a patternless world. You never, I'll have broken Game of Thrones for you now. You'll be like, where's all the patterns? It's not real. Okay, so better practice here, and then what did I like about this? Color better, blocking better, sounds so good. Unfortunate moire patterning to look out for. Nice backup location, so Mano not allow us to film there. Sam called Mano on Thursday not to film there. So yeah, you called him on Thursday and then we went there on Sunday. The guy said,
Go there for pizza, by the way, because they're super nice.
oh yes, please go there for pizza. Yeah, because they were very kind to us. They didn't even ask for anything. Yeah. Yep. Couldn't bring myself to call the guy for some reason, kept putting it off. Felt like putting a bullet point on that in there for some reason. I always write these without realizing I'm actually going to say them in front of people later, you know. If anything could help me improve as a director, it would be asking for help. Cam manager said he'd come in early for us, didn't even want anything for it.
Yeah, super nice. I literally just called him and was like, yeah, sure. Fine, don't worry about it.
Mano has a soft pastel shaded aesthetic. Pink and black are their main colours. Actors will dress accordingly. On the day, we'd planned to meet at 9 and practice in the library before heading to Mano at 10. Library wasn't open early on Sunday. I learned Saturday night, so we were going to go to Starbucks instead because it was the only place I could find that was open at 9 on a Sunday. But only Konya woke up in time to go there. Sam and I had a nice wee nap. Let's let the cat play on me for a bit.
You got locked out of your building.
Yeah, it's right there, yeah. I got locked in my building. The gate downstairs for the first time ever, it's like magnet operated and you push a button to open it. Decided it was not going to open that morning. That morning! Every other morning was fine. Yeah, exactly. This is filmmaking. That's why I put it in. This is filmmaking. That's going to happen. And it'll happen on the day as well. So luckily there was a ladder around back that I used to climb over the back wall, and I jumped down and my stomach muscles still hurt and I strained my neck. And then Juan did the same thing and he landed on his knee and cut his knee. And I'll have to hide that. I'll have to blur out that bullet point. Everyone forget that. Yep, Sam and I got into town late and had just enough time to grab a coffee before we had to be at Mano. That was great. So no...
Coffee was a saviour, to be fair.
Yeah. No morning rehearsal as we had planned. We had to skip that item in the daily checkpoint. My fancy sound equipment hadn't turned up like I hoped. I ordered it. It was supposed to be here like 2 to 4 working days, but it's not even here yet. Maybe they don't have it. I don't know. Anyway, we didn't have it, so I used my the little fluffy mic that you sometimes see me mounting on top of that. It's not there today, and a big long like AUX cable essentially into the microphone, and we attached that to the to my mop, the mop that I have at home, and Juan held it like this over the actors. So that was the best we could do. Turned out it was a bit too noisy. I used the lav mics instead. They were better. So always learning. Yeah, these were on both actors, just taped, gaffer taped to their chests somewhere beneath their clothing. Actors and crew, my husband got paid in pizza and coffee with ice cream. That's the going rate of a Robertson Rockhouse production currently. Editing. So I was like, this has to be the best thing I've made so far, which means I'm going to learn a little bit more about color grading, which I hate, to try and make it look beautiful, right? So I was like, right, I'm going to make it look like Lost in Translation, because I thought that was the color scheme that they have at Mano. Looks like sort of like this. This is a shot from Lost in Translation. It's kind of muted, pastel shades, lots of pink and gray, and mostly daylight for lighting. Then DaVinci Resolve, which is a genius program, says, grab your footage, right-click this picture, and say, match to clip. That was the color grading done. Make it look like this film. I went, all right. Whew. So I will not be learning color grading anytime soon. Solid. Did a decent job. I couldn't have gotten it that close myself. I know that much. And then you can turn it down a bit. You say, do what you did 70% of the way, which I think I ended up doing. It'd gone a bit heavy, and I was losing some details, so I said, yeah, crank it down to about 70%. So it gave me 70% lost in translation, and that was great. There's another film called Mistress America here, which I really like the color scheme of. It's kind of similar, lots of warm tones on the face and kind of blues and purples and warm browns on the clothing. So one-click color grading, that was awesome. Then I took a screenshot from Mano Pizza's menu, and I stuck it into an algorithm, and I said, give me a font that looks like this. And it did, but you have to pay the website that does that if they will list you free ones. So I had to do it manually and look for a font on like freefonts.com or something that looked similar to Mano. And I picked one that's close enough to what they used, and I just used that. Yeah, you can. I think the one I found was close enough, and it's like copyright free, so yeah, it's good to me.
I have an old CD with like 3,000 fonts.
Nice.
PostScript fonts, you can use them for cutting out stuff as well.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Turned out the acting in the close-ups was the best acting. So I'd planned to do it all in the wide shot, and I ended up using mostly close-ups. So a lot more cutting. So basically what I'm saying, what we ended up with is a rough amalgam of what I had envisioned, combined with compromises as a result of a few inevitable errors, and a bunch of great discoveries made along the way, aka any film ever. You know, little bit vision, little bit, that's what you got, you know? Okay, so let me show you a bit of it. I will show you the first. Yeah, I mean, like basically I learned filmmaking from YouTube and like the people on there, and they all say, don't wait to create, done is better than perfect. These things that I passed on that I didn't invent. That's what they say, and they all do this for a living, you know? And I think that, I don't know, anyone who would see like how hard we're working and not be like, that's great, good effort, guys, you know? I don't know who would think anything else, you know, like that isn't polished or something. I can't imagine anyone I would want to work with not being like, that's awesome, you know? I just can't imagine anyone thinking anything other than that. So I find it really surprising when people are like, what if people think this other thing? And I'm like, no, I just can't imagine it, I suppose. That's nice. This is Hemingway's writing advice, apply ask to chair. Hemingway, Nobel Prize winner Hemingway, that's what he said about writing. If you want to make a film, you've got a camera in your pocket. Press play. Yeah. And then learn how to press record, and then and then have a look at it and see if you can improve the sound, and then see if you can improve the story, and so on and so on. And then you're doing the same thing Scorsese's doing, you know.
I mean, if you put this one side by side with, like, I don't know, the long road that we did 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And the difference is like insane. So,
yeah, it's wild. It's way better, and it's nothing but practice. Turn our camera on and point to something, for the love of God. Just drafting this at my desk, like, I'm not going to actually say that in front of people, though. I'll think of something else and swap that point out. I didn't. Final thoughts. Yeah, people are always saying, like, oh, Leo, your writing's really good, but your filmmaking could use some work. Why don't you stick to the writing? But if I'd listened to stick this thing you're good at, I wouldn't have started writing anyway, because when I started writing, I was bad at it for years. So, I don't know, just do what you feel like doing, I guess. Yeah, please don't stick to the thing you're good at. That's my point. If there's anything to learn from this, like, do stuff you're bad at. And if you enjoyed this presentation or if you enjoyed the film, it's as a result of people who refused to avoid things that they were bad at. They got better at them. And that's why I'm here, and that's why all of you are here. So I encourage you all to do lots of great stuff. Cheers.